Hi students, I'm going to be doing the makeup class now for the projects, okay? And going to go through all the PPTs and talk about all of them step by step. But before we do that, I do think we should perhaps start with a few important points. Just go to this PPT and explain. First of all, it doesn't matter which PPT, but first of all, it's very important that you participate as much as you can. So bring a microphone and don't forget to check your syllabuses. I have new dates and schedules for that. Let's have a look at some of those now. Here's the syllabus for Q4 level, basically EAS 1A. Just some really important points for EAS 1A is first of all, make sure you remember that also I'm going to do another makeup class for you guys in EAS 1A classes 029 and 026. That will be a video about midterm review, so watch out for that. And another important point is the dates for the final test. It's the last week, which will be the 22nd of June. And there'll be also maybe some makeup classes, maybe because of the virus, who knows. Okay, and don't forget, I will be using Google Classrooms. This one's the EAS 1A classes, but I will be using the Google Classrooms for the midterm, the writing, okay? And what else can I tell you? Well, don't forget the dates are wrong now here. The PPT dates are wrong. And hopefully you've looked at all of your midterm stuff. This is the stuff for EAS 1A, but you know the stuff for EAS 1B is different. And there's role plays. This is the EAS 1A role plays. Make sure you follow those, okay? And this is the information about the projects. You should get these on your PPTs. So please make sure you look at them, okay? And the other thing that you need to know is, well, let's go straight away into the different stuff to review. We just want to review, really. We want to do a bit of review. And we've got 40 minutes for this. 40 minutes, well, actually now only 37 minutes. And we have 9 different PPTs to look at. 9 different PPTs. So that would be, for every PPT, around about 4 minutes each, okay? So around about 4 minutes each PPT. So I'm going to try to follow that strictly, and then I want you to make sure you ask me the questions, okay, correctly. So let's go scroll, let me find them. That's number 3. I need number 1 first. See if I can find number 1. Number 1 is about preparing. So I'm just going to try to talk about this one for 4 minutes, okay? I'm going to try to talk about this for 4 minutes, and hopefully that's enough time, okay, to discuss everything. But if you do have any questions, you're free to ask me. So there are actually 11 slides here. So that would be maybe, wow, how many minutes a slide? Well, maybe 2 slides a minute, okay? So let's start with the first slide. The first slide is start with the end. So this is about preparing for your PPT. What is your goal? What is your goal for the project? Okay, so if you remember, I have a kind of list of different projects to choose from. Let me see if I can find them for you. Hopefully I'll be able to find them. I'm going to find them now. Where are they? Yeah. Okay, so in this sheet for projects, you've got 5 choices, and you've got to know which one you want to choose. So here's you can either choose number 1, important or influential people. Pick an important or influential person that is related to your major. So that might be Gandhi, for example, if you're doing politics, or that might be, I don't know, an inventor like Alan Turing if you're doing engineering, or it might be someone like a businessman who's famous, like, I don't know, Bill Gates. Okay, so you need to choose that person. Then you have to explain the relationship to your major, the background, his or her achievements, and their legacy. Or you can do number 2, a company creation. So you can create and market a company that sells a product or service related to your major. So this could be, if you're an engineer, you might want to create a company that makes engines or machines or some sort of computer product, and then you define that product. You discuss your target customer. Is it companies? Is it young people? You then have a role for each of your group in the company. And what is different? What is the unique selling point of the product? How is it different from other products on the market? So number 3, you can do a 1, 2, 3 of being a Dongguk student. So you give information about Dongguk. You do like the ABCs of Dongguk, right? And that can include an outline of your major, student services around. So when I think of student services, I think of restaurants, cafes, shops, and there's social life. Okay, so what is the social life that you can have here? Many people like to hang out at Chungmuro. At the moment, there's not much of a social life because of Corona, but when the university is in full swing, there will be a lot to do. How can we get to university? So that's transportation. You can talk about that. And then here's another one, number 4. Teach me how to. Teach a concept of your major which will be useful to the class. So you define the concept. You give examples to expand and clarify the concept, and you explain its connection to your major. And how is it practical? Okay, and then the last one here is, what are the interesting or unique jobs connected to your major? Define the job, the responsibilities it has, and its relationship to you and your major, the pros and cons, and the social impact of this particular job. So the other thing about this is that if you go to this particular Excel file, you can see there are also on the second tab, there's a number of different other choices you could choose. Present a country focusing on culture, history, geography, and festivals. A subway line project including information about specific subway lines and what place of interest are on that line. View a trip or holiday, debate on pre-agreed topics, make a version of carpool karaoke, make a stand-up comedian act, or make a chat show. So these last 3 are a bit more fun. And if we go back to the first tab, we can see that project A is actually 5%. Students must complete the following: pick the project, decide on specific topics, assign each of the tasks to a group member, discuss the plan, and complete each task with the professor. And then part B is the presentations. So if you can see here, here's the grading form for project A. Are you doing is the task complete? Is there participation? Okay. And here is part B: delivery, clarity of speech, quality of visuals, major focused. It's not spelt right, but you know what I mean. Audience appropriate, informative, and engaging. Okay, so this one here, I think you can decide upon how you can make the delivery better, how can you make it more clear and higher quality, You don't need to worry about the major focus. It's got a lower score here anyway. Think about your audience and is it informative? Is it interesting? Let's go back to the PPT. Okay. So what is your goal? Your goal is to choose one of those and to make that PPT. And why are you giving this presentation? Why did you particularly choose that topic? You know, if you chose the company creation, you might want to say it's because that one day you want to own your own company, right? What do you want the audience to remember after your presentation? What do you want the people listening to you to remember about that presentation, okay? There must be something about that presentation that I can go away and think about again and again and again. Know your audience. So your audience is me. I'm your audience and I'm a professor and I don't always know everything about your major. And there'll be some students there too, maybe. Usually I like to have students observe, but that might not be the case because of the WebEx, but maybe there will be students. So you need to know who we are. Who is the audience? Professor and students. What do they already know about your topic? Maybe nothing. Maybe some of them know absolutely nothing about the topic. Okay? What are their expectations of you? Well, I hope that you will do your best. So I have a high expectation of you, but the students may not, but I do as a professor. Where and when is it? Where and when is the presentation? Well, right now, it's possible that it will be in the classroom and the dates that I've given you, but it may not be. We don't know. It could have to be done online. Content, content, content. Start with solid content appropriate for your audience. Use the content to connect with your audience. Try to connect with us. Understand people, understand what people want to hear, okay? You don't need to tell your audience every single thing or every single detail for them to understand. Just make sure you're clear. Don't patronize us, I suppose. Don't talk down to us, but give us, help us to understand it more, but not every single detail, okay? Keep it simple. Simple can be hard for the presenter, right? Sometimes simplification is more difficult for you because you have to take a lot of information and make it into something small. And that's so that the listeners can understand it, all right? Simplified language. I would like it if you made it simple, not too complicated, not too many like technical terms. If you simplify, it also means you need to plan it more. So by planning ahead, you can make it more understandable. What can you include in the presentation and what can you not, what do you not need? What can you get rid of? Okay, think about that. So here is something you need to do. We're going to talk now about outlining your content. So use pen and paper to prepare for this presentation. Do the planning using pen and paper. This will help you. Use pictures in your pen and paper, okay? It helps you to analyze the stuff that you want to say and do. It's better to have it as an analog rather than all typed out. If you do it, the PPT first, you may not properly edit it later. So you want to do it in stages. Write it down first, then do the PPT later, okay? Have a sound, clear structure. When you make your presentation, did you outline your ideas and set them up in a logical fashion? Is it logical or illogical? Is it in a good order or is it haphazard and chaotic? Will students understand it or will it be tough for them? Can you make sure you understand or visualize the flow of the language so that you know it's not just stop, 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 stop. It's flowing and progressive and understandable. So I want to know where you're going. I don't want you to just go all over the place. I want you to show me your direction. Help me to predict. So when you make your presentation, always ask, so what? Why did I put this in here? What is the reason for this? What makes this so important? So you make sure you do that. Ask yourself questions. It's a simple question, but it's important. If you think it's not important, if you think this is, you can't really answer this question, if it's completely irrelevant, then take it out. You know, don't talk about Mickey Mouse if your topic is zoos, okay? Something like that. The elevator test. Imagine you have to pitch a new idea to the head of marketing. He or she is busy and can only talk to you in the elevator between meetings. Could you sell your idea in that 30 to 45-second elevator ride? So that's how you have to sell it. Sell, be as sweet and short and sweet as possible. Make sure it's not too long, not too wordy, but very simply put. You could say it in 45 seconds. So another important point here. The easiest way to explain complicated ideas is through relevant examples or stories. I love stories. Tell me a story. Use stories to explain, to present. Bring it to me, to the class, some stories that we would find interesting. Stories are interesting. Abraham Lincoln used to use stories. I think great leaders always use stories. How about you? Do you use stories? Try to use stories when doing your presentation, okay? Because they are interesting, they have a nice beginning, they're engaging, and they're clear, and the conclusion is there, and you know what? It's great. It's really good to hear stories. It helps, okay? Good, Practice makes perfect. So practice your material. Don't forget it. Try to memorize it and learn it, okay? And then use that material well. You can practice your speaking while controlling your slides. You can practice speaking while controlling your slides. So try that. Practice speaking with what I'm doing now is I'm speaking and I'm using the slides and I'm clicking and I'm talking every time a point comes up. That's a good way to do it. You should try practicing that a few times, okay? So the more you practice, the better you will be. So that's practice makes perfect, right? Practice makes perfect. Okay, good. So that's the end of slide 1, okay? That's the end of slide 1. So you got to try to practice a lot. Don't go in there with no background of practicing. Let's go to the second one, number 2. Gestures, eye contact. Posture, eye contact, and gestures, okay? So this is a key one too. Posture, eye contact, and gestures, right? We're almost halfway through. I don't think we're going to be able to do all of this, but let's try, okay? So let's go back here. This is the outline of what we're going to talk about now. Posture, that's your body posture. How are you going to stand in front of people? Eye contact is, are you going to look at them? Don't stare at them, but look at them now and again, okay? Gestures is your hand. You see that I'm doing that with my hand. Look at them now and again. I'm using my hands. I'm using gestures. Okay, people like to use gestures all the time, like this. Gestures are a part of presentations. Okay, let's go to the next one. Start with posture. It's body posture. What is posture? It is the way you stand. Confident posture will help make the audience believe what you are telling them. So when you watch a politician on TV, when you watch them, You can see them standing strong like this because they have to portray confidence, right? They can't just be like this. I'm so scared to share and talk. Can't hide under the cap. Head up, posture, okay? Make people believe you, right? Make them believe you. So a good posture, stand up straight. Be relaxed and natural. So a natural look. Don't look all awkward like this. No, it's got to be natural, okay? So people feel he's at ease. He's relaxed, okay? Stand with your feet apart and your shoulders square, facing the audience. That's the power stance. Feet apart. Power stance, okay? Show me power. Show me your power. More power, okay? Some poor posture could be slouching. I'm slouching, right? That's not very good posture. Do not lean on the wall or the table or the podium, okay? Don't lean on things. That's bad. If you're too stiff, you look uncomfortable, it's not going to work. You got to be comfortable, right? Be comfortable in your posture. Why is posture important? You're showing them your attitude, okay? And your knowledge. You show them that you know what you're talking about, that you are not just reading from a PPT, but you believe this and you understand this, okay? And it will attract people and get their attention so that they're not distracted by other things. They want to listen to you. They want to listen to you. They want to focus on you, okay? So that's the key thing of posture. Let's talk about eye contact. It's very important, okay? Just do what Obama does. Remember Obama? He would be like this. He wouldn't have this, but he'd have this here, and he'd quickly look around like this and gaze at different people, yeah? And he started by looking at one person for one sentence. So yeah, that's a good idea. Just read a sentence, look at somebody. Read another sentence, look at someone else. And just look at different people around the room, okay? And then try that again with a new person, yeah? Don't read your notes, as I just did. Just scan it, check it, and read. That's why memorizing is so good, right? Gestures. Let's talk about the hand gestures. Hey, shaky hands, okay? Hand gestures. Gestures are visual reinforcements of your words and ideas. I want to reinforce this word. See what I did with my hands? Reinforce. Okay. So that's a gesture, right? Gestures include hands, arms, and head movement, okay? And it can enhance your presentation or detract from it. It can help or actually not be very helpful. So it's very important to have good gestures, okay? Your hands and your arms are used to emphasize points, okay? So you use your hands and your arms to do that, okay? Keep your hands, don't put them in your pockets. Don't put them in your pockets, okay? Don't do that. That's not very helpful. And do not fold your arms like this. I don't want to do any gestures. That's also off-putting, right? And avoid nervous gestures. Okay? Don't be nervous. Don't be nervous. Don't pick your nose. Scratch your ear. Scratch your head. That's no. It's not good. They should be varied, different ones. Okay? Don't use the same motion over and over again. Don't always point your finger like this. I want to point my finger like this all the time. As I talk, I want to go like this and this because it's kind of weird, right? It can be distracting, and then people are looking at your gesture. Oh, what's his finger doing now? Okay, so try to use different gestures, okay? Some gestures do not help the audience, okay? So we've got to be careful with gestures, all right? Some gestures do not help the audience. 4 types of gestures. The emphasis and the focus. Okay, that's one. Number sequence. First, second, third, fourth. Okay, that's the kind of sequence, right? Comparison. Over here is this, but over here is like this. Okay, comparison and contrast. Illustration and location. Well, over here in the north of blah, blah, blah. Okay, so talking about location, and this house was like a box shape. Okay, so that's illustrating the shape. Okay, show emphasis, reinforce a keyword, help the audience to realize that this point is especially important. Okay, so reinforce, just help the audience to see how important that word is. Okay, the number, show a sequence, show a process. Help the audience to remember an important number. Okay, his phone number was 010514 da 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 da. Okay, and help the audience to visualize the size, shape, and or dimensions of something. So the building which we were in was on the left. Okay, right? Show how to do something. Good. And you can ski like this. That's kind of gesturing, right? Then comparison, help the audience to understand similarities and differences. Show changes in something. So the little worm became a butterfly. Okay? Stuff like that. And then you can practice this with a partner. You've got your teammates. You can call them. Okay? You can call them as much as you like. Right. Do some video calling. And you can use your WebEx for this. You've all got a WebEx group now. So you can practice with your teams. You can do WebEx groups together with this. And I mean, you can practice that, okay? Practice that. And yeah, all right? You don't have to do this completely. It's kind of a game, but I just feel like it's not necessary. Speak louder, please. Okay, so these are just some activities you can play with this PPT. If you need the PPT, let me know. I think I sent it to you anyway. So just let me know if you need the PPTs, all right? And then group 2. So this PPT, if you can find this, it's PPT number 2. I believe you can find this on Google Classroom. You can practice this game together if you want with your team. So review is posture, eye contact, and gestures. Make sure you get those right. Good. Let's go to the third PPT. Let's go to the third PPT, number 3. Okay, number 3 PPT. So we have, what do we have? Where's number 3? Voice inflection. Voice inflection. It's not inflection, I just made that up. It's inflection. Voice inflection. To do with your voice. Okay, so we're going to look at voice inflection and word stress. I hate stress, but in words, stress is very important. Okay, voice inflection means your voice changes. Okay, so your voice changes all the time. We don't speak like robots, although sometimes I do. Okay, sometimes people sound like robots, but maybe they need to stop that. Okay, our voices go up and down. Okay, so there's inflection. Okay, it's not just straight. We use voice inflection like we use gestures to give emphasis and clarity. See what I did there? I used voice inflection to give emphasis to the word emphasis and clarity to the word clarity, okay? And voice inflection, you can change your voice in one of 3 ways. You can stress a word or a phrase. You can stretch a word or a phrase. You can pause before a word or a phrase, okay? You can pause before a word or a phrase. So there's 3 ways: stressing, stretching, and pausing. It says here, pausing is used rarely, so not very often, okay? So let's talk about stressing first. This means that our voice goes up and back. Our voice goes up and back, down, as we say the word, the stressed word. Okay, so it goes up and back down. This is very important. This is a very important issue. Very, very. Okay, you can see that's up and back down. Okay, and stretching, this means that we say this word for longer than we normally say it. Okay, this is a very important issue. Do you like stretching words? You can stretch a word for as long as you like, but not too long because it sounds silly. So you try to stretch it a little bit. This is very, very important. Very important, okay? So, right. And pausing. This means that we take a short pause before we say the word or phrase, okay? This is a very important issue, okay? Practice that. This is a very important issue. Now, voice inflection. Well, vary the 3 types of voice inflection. Stressing, stretching, pausing, okay? And you can practice with a partner, use your team WebEx if you want, or if you can, use another app. Practice this kind of voice inflection. Use each type for each sentence, okay? So stressing, stretching, pausing, okay? Symbols and numbers. Dongguk is 100 years old, so try to stress that. Dongguk is over 100 years old. Dongguk is over 100 years old. Dongguk is over 100 years old. Okay, you can see the 3 different styles, all right? My new laptop was 1,000. I don't know, let's do this again. My new laptop was $1,599. Or you could stretch it. My new laptop was 1,599. Okay, or you can do a pause. My laptop was 1,599. So practice these together. The mall opens at 9 o'clock. So there's a stress on the 9 o'clock, right? And I want to stretch it. The mall opens at 9 o'clock. And you can do a pause. That was a pause as well, right? Number 3, the mall opens at 9 o'clock. Okay. Number 4, there were thousands of people at the show. There were thousands of people at the show. There were thousands of people at the show. Much more. I like the first one best, really. Some action words need to be stretched and stressed as well, and things like that. So let's look at these ones. Let's look at number 1. Let's open them all and then see which ones are here, okay? You don't have to do all of them. Oops, go back. Okay, so there are 4 words here. Need, causes, can, destroys. I like the last word. It's got real power. Power. Destroys. Okay, but let's start with number 1. We need to change our ways. I'm going to just do the stress first for all of them, then come back to the stretch, then I'm going to do the pauses. Global warming causes a lot of negative effects. Famous people can influence many of their fans. Drug abuse destroys many families. So you notice what I did there? That was all stress. Now I'm going to stretch. We need to change our ways. See that? Need to change our ways. Global warming causes a lot of negative effects. Famous people can influence many of their fans. Drug abuse destroys many families. So there's a stretching, Now I'm going to try the pausing and then continuing version. Okay, here we go. We need to change our ways. Global warming causes a lot of negative effects. Famous people can influence many of their fans. Drug abuse destroys many families. Okay, so try these action words too. Some descriptive words also need a little bit of emphasis and practice with me as well. Let's practice together. Okay, Lotte World Tower is huge. Okay, let's try stressing first, then stretching, then pausing. Let's start with the stress. Lotte World Tower is huge. Attitudes are slowly changing. Smoking is harmful to your health. Working out regularly is good for your mental health. Okay, now let's try stretching. Lotte World Tower is huge. Attitudes are slowly changing. Smoking is harmful to your health. Working out regularly is good for your mental health. Now let's try and say that again, but with the pause. Okay, here we go. Lotte World Tower is huge. Attitudes are slowly changing. Smoking is harmful to your health. Working out regularly is good for your mental health. Okay, good. Let's go to the comparison words. Here we've got 4 comparison words and phrases. And again, we'll try that with stress, stretch, and pause. Okay? A has more customers than B. The least popular ski park is jump. Our swimming pool is longer than all of our competitors. This smartphone is the most expensive model available. Let's try that again, this time with stretching. A has more customers than B. The least popular ski park is. Our swimming pool is longer than all our competitors. This smartphone is the most expensive model available. Right, let's try again with the pauses. A has more customers than B. The least popular ski park is. Our swimming pool is longer than all of our competitors. This smartphone is the most expensive model available. So that is number 3. Let's see if we can get number 4 started. We may not be able to finish it, but let's look at number 4. Okay, so we've done 1, 2, and 3. Let's see if we can finish. We've got number 4. It's the introduction. Perhaps we can look at this for 2 minutes before we finish this video. Okay, so first of all, we can look at the introduction of your presentations. Okay, so the outline of this PPT and of introductions are these 6 things. First of all, introduce yourself, then get people's attention. We've talked about that before. Then we ask what. We've talked about that before. Then why. Then outline the key points. Then there needs to be a transition from one place to the next. So introducing yourself. Let's go back here. Here's 4 points about introducing yourself. Okay. First of all, introduce yourself by giving relevant details about you. Keep it short and keep it simple. Hi, my name is James. This will only take 1 hour. Let me talk about myself. When I was a little boy, I used to live in this town with many people. I had many friends. Now, see, that's boring already, right? Don't go back to your childhood. Just keep it short and simple, okay? It should only take a few minutes. Nothing more than that. And get people's attention. Use the beginning of your speech to make your audience interested in your topic. They call that a hook, right? Quotes, jokes, stories, facts, figures, rhetorical questions. Use those things. That will really help the presentation come along using jokes. I love jokes. I love stories. Give me a story. Give me a quote. Give me something that will make me excited. Okay. And the structure. So there's a couple of things here that you can see about the structure. You start with a greeting, then you do what and why, then you outline the key points, main point 1, 2, and 3, and then there's a transition, okay? And transitions are important to go from one stage to the next, right? And here's about what. I think you can do the rest yourself. I'm going to finish now. I think we've done enough on this presentation. You can look at those on the Google Classroom, the rest of them. So I'm going to finish the recording right now. Yep, I am. And I think maybe I can do 5 more minutes. Let's do 5 more minutes, okay? 5 more minutes, and then we'll stop. So let me go back to there. Let's do 5 more minutes. This. Uh-oh, something's gone wrong. Okay, something's gone wrong. Why? So continue this for a few more minutes. But basically, we are starting with the what, explain the topic as simply as possible, give some examples that will allow them to easily understand, then why, explain why you're giving the presentation, tell them why they should listen to this speech, then outline your key points, make a list of the key points, put them in logical order, chronological from past to future, order of importance, increasing strength from low to high. Don't use full sentences. It's a PPT, for goodness sake. It's not an essay. And then make sure you use transitional words. Allow the audience to understand when you are changing the topic. Okay? Make sure to use the correct types of words. There's a hand up, but I don't have that. So here's some useful expressions I'm going to talk about. I'd like to talk about. Let me tell you about. Today I'll explain about, and then why. This information will help you too. After this speech, you will be able to. You will need to know this. to know this if or because. Okay. The overview. I'm going to talk about 3 things. Today I'll cover 3 points. I have 3 points that I would like to discuss. Verb tense. Typically we use the future tense during the introduction. I will tell you about jum jum jum. I'm going to talk about, okay, so there's future tense, all right. Honestly, I think that's all we've got time for today. There are other PPTs to read. We can quickly just look at them on here. So there's number 5, the body. You can work on the body. Then there's where's number 6? 6 is the conclusion, I think. 6 is the conclusion. Number 7 is effective visuals. Number 8 is presentation tips. And number 9 is useful expressions. Work through those and you can really produce some fantastic presentations for this project work. Okay, thanks for coming. Now going to log out. I've recorded that. You should be able to see this on YouTube. Okay. Hold on a sec. Let me stop the recording.